I've got no two ways about it. Reform will get in, Nigel Farage will be Prime Minister, and I'll be coming back to the UK when that happens.
Hello and welcome to Spectator TV. I'm Michael Simmons, the Spectator's data editor, and today I'm joined by Charlie Mullins, the founder of Pimlico Plumbers. Charlie, you've recently sold up and left Britain, and you're now spending your time between Spain and Dubai. What's wrong with Britain?
What's right with it? I said that when Labour get in, which it was probably a racing cert they would get into government, I would leave. So much has gone wrong with Britain over the last 14 years with Conservatives, from a business point of view and a safety point of view. And that was just the final straw that Labour got in. And, obviously everybody knew they'd be increasing taxes. They'd be increasing anything they can. They're very anti-business. And, again, with all these workers' rights they brought in, I just really had enough of the situation, and obviously the way Labour and the government have been wasting their money. So I haven't moved just for tax reasons, because I paid all my taxes up to date, and I sold the business 3 years ago. So all that side of it is up to date. I just don't really want to be paying into the system anymore and see the money wasted and the country going down the pan.
On the tax point, you've obviously contributed, hundreds of £1 millions to the tax man over your business career. If we look at the UK as a whole, the top 1% highest earners are paying something like a third of all income tax. Do you think that balance is wrong?
Is the balance right? Well, it's not right, but I don't know the other way around now. I mean, obviously, I get the fact if you earn more, you pay more, and you pay in a higher tax bracket. Is it right or wrong? Personally, I don't think it's right, but that's what we have to contend with. But the problem I've found for many years is that we're penalising, the government's penalising successful people. It's driving them out of the country. It wasn't an easy move for me to go, and rightly said, I paid in about £1 million over 50 odd years. I've never done any form of tax avoidance whatsoever. I followed the system. And got a lot of people into work, trained a lot of people, put a lot into the economy, done a lot for charity, and I just feel we're being driven out. Successful people are being driven out.
On this issue of workers' rights, obviously a lot of the stuff that Rachel Reeves has been announcing is not just about these business taxes, it's also, these rumoured reforms to workers' rights. As somebody, that's employed hundreds of people and created loads of jobs, is improvements to workers' rights not a good thing?
No, it's not a good thing. I mean, the workplace I think is fairly balanced. I think already it's against the employer. I was already against them, the workers' rights and employment law. And what he's done now is just outweighed it too much into the employees. Giving a worker sort of, from day one, a contract that's equivalent to being there 2 years. It's just crazy. I mean, employers don't want to get rid of workers. They want to work together. They want to encourage them in the workplace and work together. But this has just put a very much a divide there, where you're making it sort of the employee against the employer and vice versa. And that's not how it should be. I mean, there's no need to do some of the changes that she's done. I mean, we're not living in like the 1900s when, people was cruel to people at work and not looking after workers. Most employers look after their workers and they want them to stay. So what they've actually done is just made it so much difficult to employ youngsters, even take a chance of employing people, or even opening up a business. They've just gone the wrong way about it. I mean, I know another business are no longer going to employ apprentices and youngsters. One is because of the increase in the minimum wage. And the second thing is obviously the national insurance increase, and the fact that, youngsters tend to move around when they first get into the employment place. And, that's just the nature of it, really. And now employers are a little bit scared of taking them on the basis that they may play the unfair dismissal card. They get rid of them, and all of a sudden they say, oh, you didn't want me, you didn't want this. So I actually know companies that are full stop no more apprentices, no more youngsters, purely because of that one workers' right that Reeves has brought in. It's none of them are about run a business in the government or in the cabinet. I mean, they've all worked for either charity things or non-profitable businesses, or just being a civil servant like, and they've no idea of business, and you can see that by what they're doing with the workers' rights. It's just crazy, and it's not a case of us trying to be unfair, or the employer trying to sort of get the best out of somebody. We all know you've got to be fair in the workplace, and I believe most employers are fair in the workplace. But this is just sending so much the other way that it's just going to cause so many problems. It already causing problems because companies are shutting down, companies are employing less people. Less people will now start up a new business. This is probably the biggest blow in employment law, well, certainly in the 50 odd years that I know of.
So you've given some examples there. In the last few days, there's been large organisations announcing redundancy schemes purely because of the increased national insurance liabilities. With that and what you say about apprenticeships, do you think we're heading for a youth unemployment crisis?
If you enjoy what we do here at Spectator TV, then why not subscribe to the magazine as well? If you subscribe today, you'll get 12 weeks for just £12, plus a free £20 John Lewis and Waitrose gift card. You can sign up at spectator.co.uk/TV offer.
Well, we already had one, if I'm being honest, but yes, it's going to get worse out there for the youngsters. They have no future. If you don't have a job, I have to say you don't have a future. And we've already got well behind in looking after youngsters. We've got behind on the apprentice program where, youngsters, I've said this since Cameron days, when a youngster leaves school, you either got a job, go to university, or government-funded apprenticeship scheme. And I've been saying this back for 10 years now, and that's what we need to implement to get youngsters into work. The blow that the government have landed now in employment is probably totally going to destroy many, many youngsters' future and career. They just put a block on it completely. It's a disaster what they're coming out with, yes.
And do you think Starmer and Rachel Reeves are in a listening mood? Many business leaders are making the same points that you are. Do you think that there's any chance that the government is going to see what you'd say is the error of their ways, or do you think it's just going to get worse?
You'd like to think so. I mean, they've sort of U-turned on many things at the moment, where they realise they're making mistakes or they're telling lies. You'd like to think so, but I believe Labour are very anti-business, so I don't think they're going to back down on this one. Unfortunately, I think that Labour will destroy the UK, and then we're going to have to start again with a new government. I think there's no stopping them. There's no two ways about it. 6 months from now, the UK will be in a recession. Unemployment will be massive. I know Labour have just gone against the 4-day working week for civil servants, but they're allowing them to work from home. They're allowing them to dictate the hours. You can't do that. Labour are not business orientated, and I think they despise anybody that creates a business and tries to do well in this country. They're just so anti-business.
On that kind of these anti-business policies, and on the sort of general tax burden, we're showing a graph on screen just now from our Spectator data hub that shows that under the previous Tory government, the tax burden was already on its way to a post-war record high. And yes, Labour's plans are going to make that tax burden much higher. But was the last government really that pro-business when it made taxes that high as well?
I'll agree with you. I'm not sort of blaming Labour totally for all the problem. I blame Conservatives for the last 14 years for not getting in control of things. But I certainly found the Conservatives easier to work with from a business point of view. They seem to, certainly encourage people into business and understand business. So from that point of view, yes, the damage has been done over the years, but we all could see what Labour was going to do when they got in. They're very much in bed with unions, and there'll be non-stop strikes. There'll be non-stop sort of giving rises to the public servants and British Rail and all these people. And that's exactly what's happening. So I'm not blaming Labour completely, but, we can turn it round, but we will not be able to turn it round with Starmer in charge. We have to have somebody like reform in there, and someone like Nigel Farage, who would be our own Donald Trump. I mean, but no chance whatsoever with Labour.
On your support for reform and Nigel Farage, you've obviously gone on, quite a journey from funding some of the Liberal Democrats' legal actions to try to stop Brexit, and you've gone, full circle to coming out to support reform. How have you gone on that journey?
Well, look, I still believe that Brexit was a bad move for the UK. But unfortunately, we lost it, and we have to go along with it and do the best we can. But I still haven't seen any evidence that makes it better for being out of the EU. That's the only thing I disagree with Nigel on. But there's not everyone's going to have the same opinion and views, and I think it was a massive mistake, and whether they reverse it or not, or whether we just have to live with it. But let's hope we don't make the same mistake with the USA, because that's going to be even a bigger disaster than the EU. So that's the only thing I disagree with Nigel on. But other than that, I'm 100% behind it.
Is that a debate you've had with Nigel, or is it sort of you just don't go there with Brexit and him?
Well, we get on good. We speak on good terms, and if he asks me my opinion on things, and he's very aware, I'm very vocal, so he's very aware of my views and opinions. But we do talk about business and apprentices, and where reform are going. So I'm 100% behind them. I'm not. But I don't hold any grudge against the Brexit thing. I'm just still being honest with my views, and I think if we had the referendum again, I think it'd be a different result. Yeah, that's it, really. We don't have to agree on everything, but I'm very much in favour of someone like Nigel Farage. I'm very much in favour of Trump, and I think that's what we need to get the UK moving again.
The UK's sort of first past the post electoral system makes it very hard for anyone that's not the Tories or Labour to make a serious breakthrough to become the second largest party, or to become the party of government. Do you think that in the long term, reform sort of really has a chance to do that?
Undoubtedly. For sure, there'll be in government in the next election. I actually think the election will be called early, and I think they're getting sooner than that. And I honestly believe that Nigel Farage will have had some sort of, what would you call it, deal with America, with the UK. And if he plays that card to get himself into Downing Street, then he gets so much support behind it, because we need someone like Trump backing us and supporting us. And, Trump has already pretty much said that the UK can do it, but you need to, get people in like him, and get people in like Elon Musk and that, and change things. So I've got no two ways about it. Reform will get in, Nigel Farage will be Prime Minister, and I'll be coming back to the UK when that happens.
Okay, we'll see in 4 years' time if you're coming back.
It'll be less than that. I'll tell you what, I think Labour will be begging to get out of Downing Street. They will cause so much problem. They will have the nation against them. I mean, they've upset most of the UK. They've upset the richest man in the world. They've upset the most powerfulest man in the world. I mean, there's not many people left, but believe me, I believe Nigel Farage is the man that could negotiate the way forward. And I honestly believe there'll be a deal set up with the UK, with Trump, and he will be in there a lot sooner than the 4 years.
Just to finish off, if I can ask a bit of a personal question, you're splitting your time between the UK, Dubai, and Marbella. Spain or Dubai, which do you prefer?
Dubai. I mean, it's safer, it's warmer, it's very business orientated. They've got the enthusiasm to drive people on. For me, Dubai all day long. I won't be splitting my time amongst the UK. I'll come back to the UK the minimum time I need to. I'll come back for family, friends. Well, I won't be visiting that much for friends, but family and business. I've started up a new business called We Fix London. I'm not on the payroll. I'm the chairman. It's a family business, similar to what we've done before. So they will comply with all the tax regulations, but we've made it very clear that if Labour make it too difficult for the business to run, we will close it down and open up in Dubai.
Charlie, thank you.
Thank you.